God bless America. God bless those men and women in uniform. And also, I'm talking to you, you LEOs. There may come a day where you're going to have to reach down deep and search your soul. And I know there is a soul in there. To whether or not you are going to stand behind unjustified, unconstitutional laws that may be implemented in the future.
It's kotaboy32 Tactical. Now, I was a subscriber of his. I think I subbed to him when I know he had less than 20,000 subs. All the way up until recently, I was even one of his Patreons. He started a Patreon channel a few months ago, and I put toward it just, to help him out. Because I enjoy his content. But what I didn't enjoy was how he spreads ignorance. And that's what he does. We have all these channels, Guns and Gadgets, kotaboy32, Johnny B. There's a ton of them that continue to spread ignorance. And it kills me. He has 160,000, Kotaboy has 160,000 subs. He has just on this video, he's had 21,000 views in the last 5 hours. In 5 hours. He continues to use phrase like law-abiding citizen. Like that has something to do with your rights. Your rights are not dependent on whether or not you follow laws, or you abide by laws. The two have nothing to do with each other. He continues to say, Second Amendment rights. The Second Amendment doesn't grant you anything. You have natural rights. The Second Amendment is 100% restriction on government. That is it. It is your duty to enforce that restriction on government. You don't have Second Amendment rights. And as you just seen at every one of his videos, which that was just at the beginning of his video, and then he did it again at the end, he said, God bless our military, and God bless our men and women in law enforcement. Now, he used to say just that. And I tried to educate him like, hey, there's a lot of these, I tried to educate him and show him the facts. Look, that law enforcement is unconstitutional. By you enforcing anybody, whether they're good or bad, it doesn't matter, that holds an unconstitutional position, you're consenting and supporting a tyrannical government. So he actually changed up what he said. And now at the end of his videos, he says, God bless America. God bless America. God bless those men and women in blue who support and defend our Constitution. They're government. They don't support and defend our Constitution. Why would they support and defend their own restrictions, the restrictions that are placed on them? They don't do it. And he went out in this video and said something about, the people that bitch about bump stocks. You're going to have a lot to bitch about it now. You're right, because stupid people like him went out and voted for Trump because they're willing to accept the lesser of two evils. They're willing to support somebody that infringes on their rights. They don't get it. They don't understand that we're governed by consent. We can choose not to be governed by what this is, whatever it's become. All this that's happening, everything that's about to happen, is because of people like kotaboy32, like Guns and Gadgets. Guns and Gadgets more than anybody. He's a sergeant. He is a cop. You don't become a sergeant by enforcing the Constitution on other cops. Doesn't happen. We had these quote-unquote constitutionalists who know nothing about the Constitution. They don't even know what it is. That's why they use phrases like Second Amendment rights. I don't know what else to say. And I don't even know why they're so worried. What are they worried about? All these great cops, these good cops, surely to God, they're not going to enforce any more unconstitutional laws. What it is that none of the unconstitutional laws have affected kotaboy32 or have affected Guns and Gadgets or have affected Johnny B. That's why they don't care about them. That's why it's, I'll support you now, but if you do this, not, well, look what you're already doing to these people. They don't know what a right is. They don't understand that a right is within you. It is yours. Nobody can take it. A law cannot take it. Just like with felons. I use felons all the time and people that are in jail all the time because it's the best example. Everybody in this country has been conditioned to believe that felons don't have rights. And I've said this before, sorry, and I'll say it again. The man sitting in jail today, right now, not 30 miles from me, who killed my son. He shot my son. He killed my son. In jail, he still has the right to keep and bear arms. What he doesn't have is the liberty to utilize his property. That is what's been restricted. We allow government to prosecute people through the Fifth Amendment. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Notice it doesn't say rights in there. There's a reason for that. Because if government had authority over rights, they would be privileges. They cannot take your rights. Again, the guy sitting in jail who murdered my son has the right to keep and bear arms. What has been restricted through due process is his liberty to utilize his property. But he still has the right to keep and bear arms. If you don't get that, rewind this and start over and listen to me say it again. A right cannot be taken from you. And if you believe that it can, if you believe that the man sitting in jail right now doesn't have the right to keep and bear arms, then you also say he doesn't have the right to freedom of speech or to practice his religion. He doesn't have the right that we should go ahead and quarter troops in his home outside the jail. Or that the cops don't need a warrant to go into his home outside the jail. Or that he doesn't have the right to keep his mouth shut. Or he doesn't have the right to an attorney. He doesn't have the right to a jury trial or a fast and speedy trial. He doesn't have the right to be free from cruel and unusual punishment. I mean, should I go on? The whole country's been conditioned to believe this stupid shit. All this, just like the Second Amendment rights thing, they want you to believe that the Second Amendment grants you something. Because so when they take the Second Amendment away, and they're going to do it, they'll find a way. They want to do that so you believe that you no longer have that right because it was based on the Second Amendment. When the Second Amendment is our laws against government, it is our restriction on government. And it pisses me off. You know what pisses me off the most about it is I've had this conversation with him about the police and what they are. Good or bad, it doesn't matter. They're the standing army the founders warned us about. Article 1, Section 8 is very clear about standing armies. It restricted the government from creating standing armies except in very specific circumstances, under very specific conditions, and for a very specific length of time. The founders told us over and over again, a standing army is the greatest threat to liberty. Do you know why? Because they rule with force. They enforce the king's rule. They enforce the rule of those in power. And they do it by force. That's why they call their police force. And they are a standing army. That's why they're called officers. I don't even mean to get upset about it. I'm not upset pissed off. I'm upset because he has the reach. He has, all of them do. They all have the reach and the people that will listen that they can educate. Hey, look, here it is. Understand this. Understand what a right is. And they choose not to do it. They choose to remain ignorant. Like I said, Kotaboy, I bet you I could probably check. I've at least had 10 different conversations with him through email. He knows who I am. He's made a video about me a while back when I called him out on some shit. This has probably been a year ago. He knows who I am. He's a sub of mine. It's nothing's going to change as long as those with a voice keep their mouths shut, or as long as those with a voice support the other side. This Joe Biden thing ain't happening because of me. I was against the bump stock ban. I spoke out against it. I spoke out against Trump for it. But guess what? I didn't vote for Biden. I chose to be free. It's a tyrannical government. I'm not voting. I'm not consenting, because voting is a form of consent, to fill a position in a tyrannical government so they can rule over me. I'm not doing it. Now, I see, I can see how the other side, the side that's, and they're ignorant. And I'm not calling them a name. I'm saying, like I said the other night, I'm ignorant about tampons. I don't know shit about them. I don't know nothing about them. That makes me ignorant. So I'm not calling names. I'm stating a fact. But they could do something else, man. They could, like, I don't understand how, with me saying that, how people can't slow their mind down enough to think, like, wait a second. This guy, like the guy the other night, nobody whose son's murdered would say this. Why wouldn't I? Because some terrible shit happened to my kid, I'm just supposed to not believe in rights anymore? Yeah, fuck off. I default to freedom every time. Even when it's against me, I default to freedom. My neighbors come pulling in at 4 o'clock in the morning, beating her shit, and it wakes me up. I go back to bed. I wake up at 7:30 and I mow my grass right next to their bedroom window. That's freedom. Freedom isn't calling the cops out here and then having something to do all day, but now I can't mow my grass because it's 7:30 in the morning. No, we have an understanding. You do what you want to do. I'm going to do what I want to do. We're not going to bother each other. There's a fence right there. You come across that fence, we're going to have problems. It's that simple. Anyway, maybe you should go to kotaboy32, tacticool, and tell him what you think. Because he won't listen to me. Like I said, I've had multiple conversations with this dude. Multiple. Telling him what the police forces are. This isn't, Joe Biden's not going to be kicking in your door there, Kotaboy. He's not going to be shooting your chihuahua. It's going to be the cops if they do it. And if they don't do it, guess what? They're going to pull you over going down the road. And even if, let's just say that they make it to where, the other day he made a video and said, well, if they make them NFA items, then I'm going to register this one and that will be my NFA item. Because if I get pulled over with it, I'll have that. Well, first of all, keeping your other 100 rifles hidden in the safe isn't being free, and it's surely not exercising your rights. Number two, when they pull you over with that one, they're going to have reason to believe you have other ones hidden at home. That's where this is going. And they're going to get a warrant, walk up in your house and take your shit. Especially if you don't have the balls to fight. And if you think that the police are your buddies, you don't have the balls to fight. I can tell you right now. You think they're your buddies. And by the time you realize they're not, it's going to be too late. And I'm trying to warn you about that. The police are the enemy of the people. The police are the truest enemy of liberty and individual rights. Period. Fuck Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Trump. None of them people matter. None of those people are going to kick in your door. It's going to be somebody with a badge on. When I say police, I mean anybody from the local cops all the way to the feds that's not a sheriff, the one sheriff in your county. Even the deputy sheriffs in your county holding constitutional positions. Flat out. Pisses me off, man. Have a good day, guys.